Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. This week in the Royal Corner, Prince Harry and the Duchess of Sussex make a surprise appearance on Oprah's Daily Show.com, Oprah Daily, and drop in to speak with Jonathan Haddett and Catherine Price about their new book, Amazing Generations. We also have the Duchess of Sussex's amazing kicking it out of the park with the jam jar sales. Yes, the Duchess has sold over 1 million jars of jam. And how fabulous is that as a first business venture for the Duchess? We also have, this week on the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner, Boo Boo Kitty Katie, the indolent queen in waiting, and her Arise strapline. Arise, Queen Kate, absolutely pushes the boat race face of the chamois leather queen interloper Camilla out of joint, darlings, as she found the headline apparently tasteless and disrespectful. I'm so sorry that she was disgruntled. Not. We also have the private jet dalliances of the House of Windsor, clocking up 58,000 miles in between residences of the green-eyed king in waiting and the indolent queen in waiting, all at the public expense, of course, keeping up the charade that they're a happily married couple like the Beckhams. Nobody believes that, darling, 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 nobody, darling. Also this week, we do have Sycophant of the Week, darlings. We have the green-eyed king in waiting, King Dullard himself, bidding for properties on the Somerset moors. I'm sure he will be sucking from the little people as usual with this particular exercise. And finally, we have the looky-likeys. Looky-likeys. Duchess Doolittle and her playing away husband, the green-eyed king in waiting, suddenly having a surprise visit after the surprise visit of the Sussexes on the Daily Oprah show with NHS staff. More meaningless gesture exercising in relevance. And darlings, we still have Sycophants of the Week. All this and more on the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. Now that took me 2 minutes and 48 seconds, so let me just jump straight into the preamble. It's wonderful to be with you again on this glorious Friday night. Don't forget to leave a donation. I am very partial to 3 wings and chips. And a big shout out goes out to Dawn Robinson. Thank you so much for the donation and your consistent support of the show. I know lots of people leave comments, but Dawn Robinson always leaves me something of monetary value. And I just wanted to shout her out and say thank you. I really appreciate it. Right. Let's jump in, shall we, darlings? So today when I'm doing my research, I saw that Prince Harry and the Duchess of Sussex made a surprise drop into Oprah Daily. This is an online space where Oprah talks about things which are relevant and you can jump on and you can have a look. Now, what happened is they have some authors there, Jonathan Haddett and Catherine Price, and they have a new book called Amazing Generations. And this book is about young teenagers and the contribution that they can make and looking at themselves in a valuable way. These individuals are known for their work in relation to child safety and child mental well-being because they advocate less screen time and more time playing and more time being out in and amongst each other. And we already know that the Sussexes have a very strong commitment to child mental health and well-being, online safety and harm. And they're also very keen environmentalists and they're always advocating family time and being with family. And as you know, I always start my show with something positive about the Sussexes. Let's have a quick listen to the very short little clip that I can share with you on TikTok. And this is from Oprah Daily.
On how the digital space is deeply affecting our collective and mental, emotional and physical health. And obviously a huge congratulations to you and the outcome of your research, which has created a parent-led movement, which is astonishing. and much needed.
And that we're proud to be a part of.
Yeah, hugely.
Yes.
And your insights have been incredibly valuable over the years for our work with parents who've lost their children to online harms.
Yes.
And working towards solutions to keep all children safe. Can you speak to how the phone-based childhood, as you call it, affects kids' emotional development and what families can do to support healthier patterns?
Kids need to play. All mammals play. And once they get the device, it's going to push out everything else. They're going to have less sleep. They're going to stop reading books. They're going to stop spending so much time with other kids. They're not going to get as much sunshine, not as much exercise. So as they get more and more into a screen-based life, all the things that children need to do get pushed down and pushed out by these screen activities that are engineered for addiction.
We need to help our kids develop human skills and human relationships. And both of us have done a lot of research on human flourishing, what it takes to have a meaningful and full life. And relationships, human relationships, are at the top of that.
So at the end of that short clip, you hear Catherine Price talking about the importance of flourishing. And I thought to myself, what a fabulous word, flourishing. That word embodies the Sussexes for me. They never lived their life in a fear-based matrix. They said, I want to flourish. We want to flourish, and we want our family to flourish around us. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're so successful, because of their mindset and the people that they bring around them. And I think that's a perfect way to start the show. Now I've got another piece of good news for you about the Duchess. So the Duchess of Sussex has sold over 1 million jars of jam from her As Ever product line. And I was really pleased to read about her flourishing, like we just said, her flourishing success. If you think about any business venture, it is difficult to start. Okay, yes, the Duchess has got, support because obviously she's married to a prince. She's got worldwide fame, so she's not competing in the same space as other people. However, the point is her brand is still very successful at what it's been doing. And the fact that she was able to pick the right brands, get the right placement, also have the programs, which is her As Ever Christmas line, and also the shows that she's been putting out. I just think that shows that she has a real eye for business. And I was really pleased to read about it. The way that the British media reported that she sold so many jams or jars of jam was, first they acknowledged that it was a success. Because let's face it, okay, no one's buying any of that Windsor, what can you call it? Tat that's available, that's overpriced, and it obviously never tastes nice anyway, or smells nice, or looks nice. No one's ever interested in any of that stuff. But the Duchess's stuff is flying off the shelves. And the way that the British media reported it was that she was using her success to leverage her business opportunities. Well, sorry, isn't that what all celebrities do? Don't they leverage their fame and endorse products or sell products or, produce a line of something? That's one of the benefits of having celebrity status. More people are likely to buy something with your face on it. That's why the reason that the Windsors do the same thing. So why are you brewing when the Duchess does it? At the end of the day, she is who she is. And why shouldn't she sell jam if people want to buy jam from her product line? So just rest your beak, all you detractors. There was a copious amount of conversation in the Daily Mail that she had excess inventory. And so what? I don't recall you ever critiquing the inventory spreadsheets of the House of Windsor and anything they sell. Because that's not your function, is it? No. Your function is to act as a pair of kidneys, to be a mouthpiece for mediocrity. And you do that so well, darlings. So more power to the Duchess. May she sell infinite jars of jam and put that in your pipe and smoke it. Also this week on the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. I love doing that. Royal Corner. It's the private jet flights of Boo Boo Kitty Katie, the indolent queen in waiting, and the dullard king in waiting, the green-eyed one. Notice now how all of the photos hide the mystery scar on Boo Boo Kitty's face, or it's been airbrushed out. Moving along swiftly, darling, nothing to see here. So it turns out that the royals, as we know, seldom like to use an Oyster card. They don't even know what that is. Free travel for the little people. on London transport if you're over 65 and you're still alive after a lifetime of working and paying into the coffers, which allow these individuals to just lease themselves 2 brand new helicopters. Yes, and these helicopters have flown the equivalent of 58,000 miles since February, the equivalent of traveling twice around the earth. The vast majority of use has come from Princess Anne. Obviously, she can't take a bus anywhere. And the green-eyed king in waiting, flying between his forever home and his flat so that he doesn't have to wake up to Boo-Boo Kitty Katie's face anytime soon. We all know that marriage is dead. And the ferrying of the children with their overnight bag so that they can spend time in the spare bedroom while daddy is off doing whatever with whom, because the marriage is a busted flush. The whole thing is a charade, like a Christmas pantomime. You just wheel out the characters, smile, click, and then go back onto your separate lives. And this is a reason why, in my opinion, that the helicopter has flown so many miles. And why hasn't anybody asked the question how much it actually cost the public? Because yours and my taxes are paying for them to sit in the seats while they whiz over the little people stuck in traffic, paying the congestion charge. I found the whole thing rather distasteful. I'm sure you do too. Also this week in the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner, it seems like the chamois leather interloper, side salad Camilla, is a little upset. Her boat race face, a little Cockney rhyming for you, darlings, was put out of joint by an article by Boo-Boo Kitty Katie, the green-eyed queen in waiting, talking about what she's going to do when she becomes queen. Presumably she'll be doing a little more than she currently does. I think last November she worked 3 days in the entire month, and her and the green-eyed king in waiting still pocketed £2 million a month in salary. Make that make sense, darling. What's the hourly rate there? I mean, minimum wage? What's that? So yes, let me tell you what happened. So Boo-Boo Kitty Katie had an article in the Times supplement called Arise, Queen Kate. And it had a picture of her looking into the distance, scar clearly not visible because her hair's covering it and the Photoshop did the rest. This is possibly AI Kate enhanced, because we know what that close-up looks like in real life, darlings. Let's not try to pretend. And apparently, chamois leather Camilla, the side salad, was upset. And there were 2 mouthpieces deployed to tear down indolent queen in waiting. Amanda Patel and Tom Skies spat the tack for King Bitter and the side piece. According to them, the Queen was aggravated. Tensions have arisen as a consequence, and they were irritated because the article was in bad taste. And the reality is Catherine gets more headline than the side piece. She's lucky she's getting any headlines at all. The article continued to elucidate that King Bitter's concubine was deeply unpopular with the public. That's probably because when Princess Diana was alive, she said that there were 3 people in the marriage and she probably meant her. According to a poll, the Doolittle Duchess has 34% approval ratings. There appears to be no rating for Queen Camilla. And she was somewhat perturbed. The reason I wanted to bring this article to your attention was a number of reasons. Firstly, the Times supplement with the headline Arise, Queen Kate points to this whole narrative that she now is emerging from the shadows of illness to take on the baton of the nation. That in itself is a huge, humongous and gargantuan lie. These articles seek to portray the House of Windsor, and especially the Doolittle Duchess and the indolent King, in peripheral exercises of gesture and virtue signalling events as a way of distracting you from their continued life of inequity at the public expense. But what's even more interesting is the jockeying for position within this little court of individuals. Even with her undisclosed illness, what did Pippa say? It wasn't a conventional sickness in the conventional sense. She's still milking that narrative so that she can get better headlines than the king and his partner. To me, it just shows the pettiness of these individuals and the vacuous nature of their existence, because the only thing they seem to be concerned about is headlines, not doing anything of worth, just being reported in a favorable manner. And the truth of the matter is, Catherine and her husband, he's on day release, because you know that man's is not about at all, yeah? He's on day release if he's lucky. Once a month he puts an appearance in, around the table, but otherwise it's a no. Her and her day release partner are only interested in maintaining the appearance of an institution. And that's what these are all about. In November, like I said, she worked, I think it was 72 hours or 5 half days, and they still receive a salary. And how can you argue that this even constitutes work? It's not work. I mean, on that basis, when is the monarch actually going to retire? Let's face it, no one else is, there's no ballot for that job. There's certainly no job description. And how do you know if he's meeting the job specification anyway? So to me, the whole thing is just a long-term gig in rinsing out the public. And getting good headlines is part of that exercise. Also this week in the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner, I saw 2 articles about the Green-Eyed King-in-Waiting's property company seeking to build 620 homes. Now, what I thought was interesting when I saw this is because, he's supposed to be solving homelessness, not by doing anything, just by grinning and not shaving and turning up in the same ugly jacket and the same tired, worn shoes that he wore the last time. And what's happening is that the planning application is going to Somerset Council. Now, I've got a little bit of history in local government, and I thought to myself, well, if you're going to build 620 homes, how many of those homes will the local authority have nomination rights for? Because it's pointless, it's pointless talking about home building and home ownership unless it addresses the homelessness crisis in the country. And let's face it, haven't you been involved in several exercises, several puff pieces where you're addressing the questions of homelessness? So where's the detail about this bid to create 620 homes? Will the local authority be able to actually house anyone homeless there? And what percentage of the income will be going directly to the company that's building it and to you, basically? So will the rents be paid to you? Is that the point of the exercise? So it's not actually addressing the cases of homelessness. It's just adding more income streams into your coffers of the Duchy of Cornwall. Is that the point? Because when I looked in the articles, I didn't see any of the detail. And as my dad always says, the devil is in the detail, Denise. In addition to that, how's the homelessness project going anyway? Given that you're using huge amounts of public money to fly between residences and you're polluting the environment in the process, are we to assume that all of these air miles, 58,000 worth of air miles which the public is paying for, are to address questions around homelessness in the Somerset area, or is that for other things? Right. Just like I thought, darling. This is another exercise in self-aggrandizement, PR rehabilitation, and on the sly, putting a few bits of money in my own pocket, because when those people go into those properties, I'm going to directly have a financial benefit. There we go, darlings. Also this week in the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner, we have Sycophant of the Week. Yes, darlings, you thought that I forgot, but I didn't. And this week's Sycophants of the Week are James Oliver of BBC Panorama, Will Dallagreen and Andy Verity of BBC News Investigations. Yes, it's the Yuck Yorks, and always providing some kind of immunity for their disgusting, corrupt and filthy, vile, lacking humanity behaviour. Enter in the BBC. Take a seat, guys. Woo! So, this article that I'm reading from It says here, this is about the yuck, Yorks, Andrew, the detitled one. Hide your kids, hide your wife. Don't bring anything around him with a pulse because he'll want to spend some time being oleaginous with it. Oligarch linked to bribery paid Andrew £15 million for mansion. Now, this is what I've said last week. I said last week, if you are rich enough, with high enough social status, and with social insulation, you can commit and get away with boop, and nothing will ever happen to you. That's the way it works, darling. And here's another example of that. Suddenly, don't forget he was a trade envoy. That went on for I don't know how many years. And then when the last week when we were looking at the National Archives, they redacted the information about what he was doing and who he was meeting when he was a trade envoy. So that shows you institutional collusion. Then all of a sudden, we've got another article linking him to bribery payments paid by an oligarch in Kazakhstan for one of his properties. And the way it's being framed is, it was an inadvertent mistake. Let me read you the line. The collection of sycophants write, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor received, here they say he received millions of pounds from an oligarch using funds from a firm implicated in criminal corruption, a BBC investigation has found. Now, if the BBC investigation has found that, what do you think the Home Office found when they were paying for the flights? Because obviously he was using public money during this period. What happened? Exactly. Is that crickets I hear? Absolute silence. What a surprise. Kazakh billionaire Timur Kulubiev has told the BBC through his lawyers that he used a loan from a company called Enviro Pacific Investments to help him buy Andrew's former mansion for £15 million. So he's telling the people at the BBC, that he used a company who is involved in criminal corruption proceedings to buy the house from Prince Andrew. Sorry, Mountbatten, the detitled one. Prosecutors in Italy had concluded that the firm had received cash from bribery schemes in 2007. So basically, it's a money laundering washing exercise, which potentially Mr. Mountbatten inadvertently may have been involved in, allegedly, but we can't really be sure. Despite the paper trail, the audit trail, and any video evidence that may or may not have been available at the time. The son-in-law of Kazakhstan then president was one of the most influential officials in Central Asian countries' oil and gas industry at the time. And the BBC has also learned in another case that another Italian businessman pleaded guilty to being bribed by or bribing the oligarch. The revelations raise questions. What do you mean they raise questions? This is how the veneer happens, and this is why these people are getting sycophants of the week. The revelations raise questions whether the then prince may, listen to the language, have inadvertently. How can you may have inadvertently benefited from £50 million and then in the first opening strapline you say Andrew received millions of pounds from an oligarch? Where's the may and the inadvertent about it? This is about this is what I'm talking about. This is the reason why these individuals, and we live in this system that we live in, it's called a national oligarchic group. It's a collection of individuals who essentially work for their own benefit and then pass that off as public interest. So they knew exactly what was happening while he was trade envoy. He was involved in receiving money, laundering money, allegedly, before they sue the pants off of me, and nobody did anything about it. That's the yuck Yorks for you. And for using this language, the revelations raise questions whether the then prince may have inadvertently benefited from the proceeds of crime, please, and whether his advisors conducted the proper checks required by the law to avoid this. Like we don't know what's going on here. They receive sycophant of the week for being absolutely complicit in their language when they know exactly what's going on and they try to tell you, please don't believe what your eyes are telling you. Sycophants of the week for the lot of you. All right, James Oliver, Will Daligan, and Andrew Verity. Thank you so much for giving the political cover so that criminality can take place before our eyes along with corruption, and then you will always find a way to white-splain it out of existence. Thank you so much. And finally, this week in the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner, Boo Boo Kitty Katie and the Green-Eyed King in Waiting suddenly had to make a surprise appearance at a hospital because Harry and Meghan were on Oprah Daily and had a surprise appearance. Yes, suddenly they were at a local hospital honouring the NHS. Anyone with at least half a modicum of a brain cell knows this was another looky-likey event. We look like them. We're caring. We try to be exactly like Harry and Meghan. Look at us over here. Pay attention. That's what this event was. It screamed imitation. It yelled hollowness. And the body language between the two of them were like opposing polar opposites. Nobody was interested. The whole exercise looked contrived, and the smiles resembled grimaces because you had the misfortune to inhale a stale prawn that had been left outside the fridge, fallen behind the sofa, and was emitting a rank aroma. The whole thing was just vile. And that's it for me this week, darlings. I do hope you enjoyed my Royal Corner. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to donate, darling. I'm very partial to 3 rings and chips. Please do come back next week. And that's it. Mwah! Cut. Down in front. Down. See you later, guys. Yes, I enjoyed it. I loved it this week. Bye.